Next is kingdom fungi. So kingdom fungi, they are heterotroph. So heterotrophs includes parasites, saprophytes, symbionts. So you know what are parasites? They live on host. They take up all the nutrients from the host. Example, lice, an animal plant parasite, cuscata. Saprophytes, fungi example, they grow on dead and decayed, even bacteria. Symbionts, lichens. Lichens are the combination of algae and fungi together, which live together and they benefit each other. Reproduction is vegetative. They undergo fragmentation, budding, fission, sporulation. Fruiting bodies is they develop the hyphae into spores. And they also undergo sexual mode of reproduction, which involves three steps: plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. So plasmogamy meaning the gametes will fuse with the protoplasm. Protoplasm meaning the outer covering of the cell. So the gametes will fuse with the protoplasm, then it fuses with the nuclei and undergo division called the meiosis. So this is how a new organism will be formed through sexual mode of reproduction. So all these you will read it in detail in the upcoming chapter. Just you know what are the important terms that you come across. And they undergo dikaryon. Di meaning two and karyon meaning nucleus. So here I said fusion of two nucleus. So you call that as dikaryon and the phase called dikaryophase. And this kingdom fungi, it includes phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. So we will just have an outline of all these. So before that, you need to know how these spores reproduce. So I told you this is the structure of a fungi. The root-like structure, you can find certain root-like structure. So all these roots together you call it as mycelium, and single structure you call it as hyphae. This hyphae is also, so you can see here, hyphae. So this hyphae you call it as sporangiophore, Phore, 4. And this is sporangium wall, and you call that as sporangiospores. So this is spores and this is 4, Phore, this is spores. And within that you have spores, sporangiospores. So this is called the fruiting bodies. So when these spores undergo favorable condition, they rupture. So you can find the sporangial wall is ruptured out and they release spore. And this spore will fall onto a place and they start germinating. So that germinating is hyphae. So hyphae grows and develops into a new mycelium. So that clubbing together you call it as mycelium. Example, Rhizopus, Mucor, Penicillium, Aspergillus, ferns, mosses are few examples. So this is just an outline about the major groups of fungi: ascomycetes, phycomycetes, deuteromycetes and basidiomycetes. So I think you are well versed with the terms now, what are phototropic, autotropic. So now it will be easy for you to understand. So example for ascomycetes are fungi, Penicillium, a common example, Penicillium, tuber, morcella. These are new to you, but this is something you would have heard it before. One unique character of ascomycetes is they are sac fungi. So it has a sac-like structure. Sexual spores, it bears sexual spores inside the sac called the asci. So within that sac, how you can find it out in peas? So you will have a sac, within that you have asci. So the spores that are present within this sac, you call it as ascospores. So these are sexual form of spores, ascospores. So ascomycetes unique character is bearing sac and ascospores. Coming to phycomycetes, they are lower fungi, asexual spores called sporangiospores. I told you sporangium wall will have certain spores within. They are called sporangiospores, and sexual reproduction is by gametes. So example for phycomycetes are Rhizopus, Mucor and albigo. So this will undergo both mode of nutrition, both mode of reproduction. So the acinocytic hyphae, sporangium produce Sporangiospores mostly saprophytic, common in soil and decaying matter. Coming to deuteromycetes, these are imperfect fungi. Fungi in which the sexual stage is unknown, only asexual reproduction is observed. Again the same, you can find different spores here. The spore will rupture out and they fall onto a place and they start growing. So you call this as conidiophore. I told you here you call it as sporangiophore, and these imperfect fungi, you call this structure as a conidiophore, and this bears conidia. So here you call it as sporangium wall, here you call it as conidia, and the spores that are coming out from this called as conidiospores. Can you understand? So just you need to know what are the unique characters that come under all these variety. And the last is the basidiomycetes. So basidiomycetes, they are club fungi, sexual spores, basidiospores. So here you learnt it as ascospores, here sporangiospores, conidiospores, and here is basidiospores are produced and they are called as basidia. The common example is agaricus, the mushroom. Okay, so just have a look at all these structures. So if you want, I can just show you. So this is basidiomycetes, deuteromycetes, phycomycetes and ascomycetes.